This video clip is about using the sine function. We'll just get familiar with the calculator and how to use that, and then we'll use it for calculating the heights of things. For example, how tall are the light poles on the football field? Sine of an angle. That is defined as the length of the side opposite divided by the hypotenuse. So this angle down here, we're talking about the length of the side opposite. So as you look, like if you were looking through a telescope, you would see the side opposite that. And we're talking, this only works for right triangles, so the hypotenuse is always the side that's across from the hypotenuse, or from the 90 degrees. The hypotenuse is the side opposite the 90 degrees. So for example, if we have an arm that's swinging around this circle, the length of this distance down from the end of that arc starts at 0 and it gets larger and larger as we go from 0 to 90 degrees. Then once you get to 90 degrees and you keep going, that distance keeps getting smaller and smaller. And so if you look at the value of the sine of an angle, it looks like a wave. It grows and gets smaller, and then it goes negative, and then comes back to 0, and then it repeats. So once you get to 360 degrees, it repeats. So if you know that the angle A is 21 degrees, we know that much, and the length of side C is 25 feet, we can find the length of side A, because the sine of 25 degrees is equal to the length of the side opposite divided by the length of the hypotenuse. So for solving, A is being divided by 25. So if we multiply by 25, that will cancel the divide by 25. So A is equal to 25 times the sine of 25. Oops. I'm sorry, I've got the wrong angle in there. The angle was 21. The length is 25. So let's grab a calculator and do 25 times the sine of 21. 25 times the sine of 21 is 8.96. Well, let's call it 9 feet. It's pretty close to 9. That makes sense because 21 degrees is a small angle. So it's going to be, we know that A is going to be much smaller than 25. Let's change things around. 26 degrees for angle A. A is 10 feet. Can we find the length of C? Well, we know that the sine of 26 degrees is equal to the length of the side opposite divided by the length of the hypotenuse. Now, there's only one thing that we don't know, but it's in the denominator. Let's get it out of the denominator. The opposite of dividing is multiplying. So now we have C times the sine of 26 equals 10. Well, the opposite of multiply is divide. So 10 divided by the sine of 26 is equal to C. Let's run that on a calculator. 10 divided by, I'm going to go ahead and put that in parentheses, the sine of 26, have to end two parentheses now, says 22.8, pretty close to 23. Depending on how well we know the angles and how well we know the lengths, we can round that to where it makes sense. So here's another example. Let's say angle B is 20 degrees, side B is 40. We want to find the length of side C. So the sine of 20 degrees is equal to the length of the side opposite divided by the hypotenuse that we don't know. So let's get that out of the denominator. Let's get it all by itself. So C is equal to 40 divided by the sine of 20 degrees. Throw that on a calculator. (40) divided by the sine of 20 divided by, put it in parentheses, the sine of 20. If you're not sure that everything's going to be calculated in the correct order, you can always use parentheses. So that says 116.9695, let's call it 117. So this triangle's really drawn out of proportion. Maybe it should be drawn more like this. So this is 40 because this angle's only 20. And so 117, that makes a little more sense to draw it like that.